Everyone assumed she was merely a technician, a silent pair of hands carrying a toolbox, nothing beyond that. However, on that rooftop, as the interference diminished and the transmission became clear, she overheard something never intended for. Her ears. This discovery transformed everything. Within a minute, what started as standard maintenance became a desperate race against the clock. The sole individual possessing the information needed to prevent the assault wasn't even meant to be present. Before we start, which global city are you viewing this from at this moment? Share it in the comment section below. We enjoy discovering how extensively these tales reach. Please like this video and subscribe to ensure you catch our upcoming stories. Dawn had just started to emerge. Above the rough skyline of Forward, operating Base Falcon, as Corporal L. Ward hoisted her weathered canvas tool bag onto her shoulder. She wasn't combat infantry or elite forces. Her role was as distant from recognition as possible, maintaining communications equipment. Elise had earned recognition for two qualities: resolving issues more quickly than her peers, and accomplishing this without excessive conversation. She favored cables over conversations, electronic components over administrative matters. This explained why her name was immediately mentioned when the Southern Communication Tower began transmitting interference into the command frequency at 540 hours. Ward, collect your equipment. Southern Rooftop, the communications sergeant instructed, barely glancing away from his control panel, by 0552.
House.
She was ascending the final metal ladder leading to the summit of the three-level outpost. Structure. The atmosphere was frigid and biting, wind whipping against the loose covering material stacked beside the rooftop barrier. The array's satellite dish, typically a stable guardian aimed at the distant horizon, was angled slightly off-center. Shaking in the strong winds, she crouched beside the mounting plate, her tools making soft metallic sounds in the morning stillness. The crackling of interference filled her earpiece as she connected to the transmission line. Control. This is Ward at the Southern Array location, initiating system checks. A monotone voice responded through static. Understood. Take your time. Likely just wind damage again. However, Elise suspected otherwise. She had detected the subtle irregular rhythm in the transmission during her climb. Not wind damage, not weather conditions, but something different. She removed the panel covering. Her gloved hands, working with experienced precision. The internal connection appeared intact. The frequency adjustment device showed no visible harm. She fine-tuned the calibration dial. Interference diminished, and then she became motionless. Voices emerged not from her installation, not on their secured frequency, quiet, intentional, speaking in sharp dialects she had only encountered during training exercises. Convoy approaches kill zone at 0730 hours. Roadblock positioned and ready. Heavy weapons will be positioned on northern ridge. Her breathing stopped. She checked her timepiece. 730. Less than 2 hours remained. She verified the frequency setting once more. This wasn't accidental interference. This was enemy communication bleeding directly through their primary communications system because the dish's positioning had shifted just enough to intercept it. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears as the voices persisted. Primary objective, Eagle Convoy. I repeat, Eagle Convoy. Secondary mission, eliminate high-priority officer, codename Ironhand. Elise didn't need to consult the personnel list. Ironhand represented Colonel Marcus Hale, sector commander. He was scheduled to inspect the Eagle Convoy. Path that morning, she pulled out her notepad and began recording every detail. A shadow cast across her workspace. She turned quickly, heart racing. Sergeant Dillon from the watchtower was looking down. From the roof's rim, Ward. What's taking so long? Control mentioned wind damage. Just fix the alignment and come down. Her thoughts raced. If she informed him immediately, regulations would demand she report the intelligence through 2 separate commanding officers. By that time, the convoy would already be moving directly into an ambush. She responded, keeping her voice controlled. The enemy voices continued through her earpiece, providing map coordinates. She recognized one location, a supply route beyond the Karvik Pass. Confined, ideal for an attack. She could hear them expressing amusement. She sealed the panel, keeping the dish slightly misaligned to maintain the intercepted signal. She secured her toolkit and started her descent. Dylan looked puzzled. "You didn't fix the alignment." "I need to inspect the south junction first," she fabricated. But her destination wasn't the junction. She was heading to Colonel Hale. The challenge was that Hale was unfamiliar with her. She was a corporal in communications maintenance, just another anonymous face in the dining hall. Her only path to reach him involved circumventing the entire command structure. If her assessment proved incorrect, she would face court-martial before evening as she walked toward the command section. Boots grinding on stones, her earpiece crackled again. Confirm hostile armor positioned by 0710. All forces prepared. Gripped the toolkit more firmly. She was no longer simply repairing equipment. She was about to prevent warfare before it commenced, or become known as the corporal who raised false alarms. The command section of Fob Falcon buzzed with organized activity. Radio transmissions hummed. Footsteps echoed on metal walkways. The aroma of strong coffee and desert grit filled the atmosphere. Corporal Elise Ward kept her gaze lowered as she passed the initial security point, grasping her toolkit like a safety line. Office and reveal everything. However, in military service, bypassing the chain of command resembled sacrificing oneself on an explosive device. She didn't hesitate. She turned the corner toward the operations area, but a voice halted her abruptly. "Ward, you lack authorization for this area." Lieutenant Braxton, a stocky man with a constant frown, obstructed her route. His gaze moved to the identification. On her chest, communications maintenance. "You should be on the rooftop." Lisa's mind worked rapidly. "Sir, I intercepted an unsecured transmission." Braxton raised his hand. "Submit a signals intelligence report and await review. That's standard procedure." "Review?" She glanced at the wall clock. 614. If she waited for processing, the enemy would establish their ambush before her report left the desk. "Lieutenant, respectfully, they're organizing an attack on the Eagle convoy. Respectfully, Corporal, you're overstepping boundaries." His tone became stern. "Without proper clearance, you won't enter a colonel's office with unconfirmed radio." Chatter. Her grip on the toolkit became so tight, she worried the metal handle might deform. She withdrew, or appeared to. Back in the hallway, she slipped into a supply closet and retrieved her notepad. Every map reference she had written on the rooftop stared back at her. She pulled out the compact field radio from her equipment. Its transmission range was limited, but sufficient to contact one of the convoy's escort vehicles if she could find the correct frequency. Interference hissed in her ear, followed by a burst of communication. "Convoy Eagle. This is Falcon Operations. Departure approved 40700. Her pulse increased. They were already preparing to leave. She switched to the secure channel and pressed the transmission button. "Eagle 3, this is Communications 2. Do you copy?" Pause, then a cautious voice. "This is Eagle 3. Provide identification. Elise Ward, Corporal. Communications repair. You're heading into an ambush. Karvik Pass, North Ridge, enemy armor, positioned by 0710. Repeat, abort current route." Static silence. Then the voice returned, tense. "Corporal, that's a significant allegation. What's your source?" She swallowed hard. "Source is me. Just intercepted it through our southern array. No time for headquarters confirmation. You must reroute immediately." Another pause, longer this time. "Copy Communications 2, standing by." She barely had time to breathe before the closet door was yanked open. Braxton stood there with military police flanking him. "Corporal Ward, you're under detention for protocol violation and unauthorized transmission." The MP seized her arms before she could object. Her radio crashed to the floor. "Think you can play hero?" Braxton sneered. "You might be feeding false information directly to an active convoy." "They're heading into an ambush," she responded, struggling against the restraints on her wrists. "If you wait for verification, they'll be killed." Enough, Braxton declared. "MPs secure her." At 0648, Eagle 3's lead vehicle entered the canyon approach. Steep cliffs rose on either side, shadows deepening in the morning illumination. In the gun turret, Sergeant Marino examined the ridge through binoculars and froze. Tank tracks partially. Concealed in the sand, exactly where the desperate corporal had indicated, he keyed the radio. Eagle 1, halt. We have armor in the ambush zone. Confirm movement on the north ridge, a pause, then movement confirmed. Withdrawing. Engines roared as the convoy executed a sharp reversal, dust clouds rising into the air. Ridge, 2 enemy observers grabbed their radios, shouting commands, their ambush exposed before it could begin. In the detention cell, Elise paced restlessly. Every moment felt like a heartbeat beyond her control. The door opened. Colonel Hale himself entered. He assessed her, then spoke calmly.
Aim the crunch of boots on gravel. Slow, deliberate. More than one pair. Elise removed her headset, reaching for the pistol at her side. She moved to the narrow window opening, peering into the night. Shadows moved against the darker shadow of the ridge. 3, possibly 4 figures. One carrying a suppressed rifle. She had minutes, maybe less. Her mind raced. Stay inside and fight, or slip out the back and risk the open desert. Then through the wind, a voice, calm, mocking, and far too close. Corporal Ward, you've been listening to the wrong people. The atmosphere inside observation post Echo was oppressive, the walls seemingly pressing closer as the voice outside faded into the wind. Elise Ward's heartbeat felt deafeningly loud. She didn't respond. She didn't move. From beyond the sandbag barrier, boots shuffled. Metal scraped against stone. Someone was testing the side entrance. Her eyes flicked to the room's corner. The portable communications booster lay sideways, dark from the power failure. Without it, she couldn't alert Falcon Base. Her alternative rested in her holster. She drew the pistol, its weight steady in her trained hand. The door hinges groaned. Then a sudden impact. The frame splintered, dust puffing into the air. A shadow entered, tall, armed, wearing desert camouflage that didn't belong to her forces. His rifle rose just as she ducked behind the communications desk. The first round cracked past her head, biting into the concrete wall. Elise emerged, firing 2 quick shots. The man jerked, hitting the floor hard, but others remained. She could hear them moving along the south wall, whispering in the language she now recognized from the rooftop interception. She remembered the coordinates she had scribbled days earlier, remembered how the enemy spotters established their traps. They had approached thinking she would be frightened, trapped. Instead, she moved. She slipped through the rear hatch into the cold desert night, staying low among the rocks. Her boots made no sound on the sand. Ahead, the ridge descended, offering a clear angle on the south approach. There they were, 2 silhouettes advancing toward the post's side entrance. Her training instructed her to avoid engagement, wait for backup. Her instincts told her there wasn't time. Elise aimed the pistol, exhaled, and squeezed the trigger. One fell, the other spun toward her, firing wildly. She dove as bullets sparked off stone inches from her leg. Her mind raced. She needed elevation and angle. She scrambled up the ridge wall, dirt and rock crumbling under her fingers until she had the perfect view, not of them, but of the small pack lying in the sand beside the fallen man's hand. It was a communications pack. She slid back down, seized the pack, and activated it. Static, then a clear channel. Falcon, this is Ward. Hostiles engaged at Echo Post. South Ridge compromised. Request immediate quick reaction force. The reply was instant. Copy, Ward. Raven team en route. ETA 6 minutes. Hold position. She smiled grimly. 6 minutes was an eternity in a firefight, but it was sufficient. The final hostile emerged from the darkness, charging her position. Elise dropped behind a boulder, pistol raised. She fired twice, each shot echoing through the canyon. The man fell, his weapon clattering to the sand. Silence returned, broken only by her labored breathing and the low hum of the captured communications pack. Then from the distance, the rhythmic beating of helicopter blades. The sound grew louder until a pair of armed ravens descended on the ridge, their boots hitting the sand in perfect synchronization. Back at FOB Falcon, Colonel Hale met her at the landing pad. Dust swirled around them as the rotor slowed. "Heard you created quite a disturbance up there," he said. She handed him the enemy communications pack. "They came for me, sir." He studied her for a long moment. "And now they understand why they failed." Then, to her surprise, he attached a new patch to her sleeve. "Raven Team. Unseen, unheard, unbroken. Welcome to the unit, Ward. Appears you're finished repairing antennas." Weeks later, Elise was back on a rooftop, headset on, scanning the airwaves. She still preferred cables to people. But now, every voice on the network knew her call sign. Somewhere out there, the same enemy who had attempted to silence her was still searching. They could continue looking. She was listening. What are your thoughts? Was Elise justified in breaking protocol from the beginning? Would you have acted similarly in her situation? Share your opinions in the comments. If you appreciated this story and believe true heroes often remain hidden among us, please like the video and subscribe for more content.